In some ways, this is a continuation of the last blog. And for those of you that watched it or did not, I was talking about setting an intention, offering an intention, and then kind of surrendering or giving up the form of that intention to the universe. So I used the metaphor of if I want a relationship, I would identify the qualities of that relationship, or it could be the qualities of a job or qualities of a community I want to be a part of. And then it's offering that intention and say, hey, I want a community with these elements and these qualities. And then it's allowing life, the universe, in its infinite wisdom and abundance to supply the form, supply experiences, which will now know what type of community it is and who the people are going to be in it, etc., etc. So this all sounds great until you try to do it. You may notice it's not an easy thing to do. So hence, I wanted to follow it with some ideas. And the reason, my opinion is the largest reason it's difficult to do is because you have to give up control to some extent. And specifically, you have to give up control of the outcome is what I've been calling it. You may have heard me talking about, controlling the outcome, or letting go of the outcome is another way I've talked about it. And so why is this so hard? So I think it's largely because of fear. Okay, so fear and insecurity, the belief that I won't be okay if I don't control the situation. Insecurity, perhaps, that's one way of framing it anyway. It's always future-based. It's always about fear and insecurity. It's always like something bad's gonna happen in the future. Okay, and you may have, a good reason for that. You may have had bad things happen, and you've maybe had trauma or unfortunate things happen in your life. And so fear is like, it's always future-based. And this is my premise. I mean, I'm not like the know-it-all on these things, but this is just, I would always, when I make an assertion like that, I'd invite you to consider it for yourself. So let's just assume that fear is future-based, okay? So therefore, what I try, and control is usually always fear-based. Okay, so when I'm trying to control, you can even reverse engineer control. When I'm trying to control something, specifically control the outcome, there's usually fear involved. Fear of what's going to happen, because fear is future-based. Okay, so that's my kind of premise and foundation that I want to work on. And so, work upon. So, what's our solution? Usually an unconscious solution is if I can control the outcome, I take away the risk and I reduce the danger of the fear. So then I control. So then when I create something, or I have experiences, or I go to work, or I go out socially, it's like what I do then is I unconsciously often set it up so I can control what's going to happen. Okay? So, and that's how our culture largely goes through life. Okay? And it's not that there's anything wrong with it, but as I said in the last video, it can be limiting because it's getting into me assuming that I know what's best for the outcome. In my last video, I was saying, look, if we can let go of the outcome, if we can let go of the form, the universe is much better than I am and that we are in supplying the outcome. I'm going to get better outcomes if I let go of it and let the universe give it to me. Takes a lot of trust. Some folks would call it faith, but that's, because the universe has this wisdom, and this is another premise. It can see things that we can't. Okay, it can see beyond the illusions of time and space and our belief systems and our fears. So if we partner with the universe, offer an intention, let it provide the outcome, it provide the form of our intention, my premise is that we're going to get much better outcomes, which is exactly the opposite of what our mind tells us. Okay, so what I'm saying is, and it's just something to check out. Okay, what I'm saying is if you can let go of if you have an intention and you can let go of the outcome, you're going to get a better outcome than if you try to control it. And that's why I'm suggesting you try this. Not because you should let go of control. I mean, control is kind of a dirty word, especially in the spiritual thing. It's like how do we use control? Control freak. That's not usually a term of endearment. Or someone is very controlling. Okay, in spiritual, pursuits, we're always trying to surrender or let go of control. So control is not something that we usually aspire to spiritually, and maybe this is why. But all I'm saying is the reason I would suggest you do it is not so we can just be cool spiritually. It's because it's going to get you better outcomes. Okay, but that's the opposite of what your mind says. Your mind says if you let go of control of the outcome, terrible things are going to happen. Bad things are going to happen. Okay, so how do we get over this hurdle, this fear? How do we do that? Is the only way there is, maybe unfortunately you may say, is to try it and prove that you can get better outcomes by letting go of control. Prove that, if you have a good intention, you create the conditions for unfoldment, even preparation, and is that then we can get better outcomes and terrible things will not necessarily happen. In fact, they'll happen less. But that's my truth that I worked on for many years. I can say this, you can even believe me, but it doesn't really matter until you know it experientially. Okay, so that's largely, some of you may know I trained with a shaman and Zen master. He was pretty eclectic for like 4 years. And it was 1 year, and then I went back for 3 more later in my life. And especially that last 3 years, a lot of the training was about, he would basically, it was an aggressive course. It was an advanced course, you might say. He would take kind of control away from me in a way. So to prove to myself that I didn't need to be in control of things to survive life and to get good outcomes. Okay, and that was really, if I had to boil down his whole training into one thing, he wanted me to know experientially that I can still survive and I can thrive and I can have good outcomes if I let go of control, if I let go of controlling the outcome. Okay, now it may be your job to control the outcome, and I understand that, but even then, okay, if we have an intention and we point the boat in the right direction and then let go, we're going to get better outcomes. I think this has legs in business as well. That's a whole other topic perhaps, but it's the same principle. So where do we start? We start by offering an intention and disciplining ourselves to let go of the form, to let go of the outcome and see what happens. And then when bad stuff doesn't happen, acknowledge that. Say, oh, I let go of control. Actually, it turned out better than I thought it would. Okay, and that won't always happen, of course, but that's kind of what we do. And then once you believe that you can get a good outcome by letting go of the outcome, by letting go of controlling the outcome, then you're free. And then we don't need to control anything, and we don't need to control anyone. And we can still just create intentions, do the preparation, create the conditions for things, and allow the universe to partner with the universe to unfold these things. So that is my video for this week. I could keep on going, but that's enough for this week. I hope you have an awesome week, and happy life after Labor Day. I hope you enjoy your September, and I will see you in a week.